22.
Your News Radio KMAN weather forecast update. Today we're looking at sunny with a high near 44, breezy with a northwest wind from 10 to 20 miles per hour with gusts getting as high as 35. Tonight it's going to be mostly clear with a low around 25 degrees and some northwest winds getting as high as 10 p.m. Thursday it's going to be mostly sunny through the mid-morning, then getting a little bit cloudy with a high near 54. That night we're going to be looking at cloudy, gradually clearing with a low around 35. We're getting ready for the game.
The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Finally, once again, the recruiting gods have opened up the clouds and have shined down upon Manhattan, Kansas, Jerome Tang's program, and the Wildcats finally, out of the high school ranks, has its first commitment for the 2025 class, Ashton Magee. Just moments ago from his high school in Mississippi, South Jones High School in Mississippi, a late bloomer has committed to the K-State Wildcats.
I'll be taking my talents to the university, Kansas State University.
A freaking of an athlete averaging 24 points per game in high school, has really blossomed since the summer, has really caught the attention of those that evaluate recruits. And here in just a moment, we'll be talking with KSO about this commitment that K-State picks up a little less than an hour ago, again from the state of Mississippi. He is 6'7", 180 pounds, Ashton Magee for the class of 2025, which ESPN does not rank him in their top 100, but ESPN has rated, according to the On3 industry rankings, ESPN has given Ashton Magee a 4-star rating. Nobody else has a rating. On3, 24/7, or Rivals has as of right now, rated Ashton Magee. Welcome to the game. Mitch Fortner with Cole Dutchendorf across the glass. And we're with you until 5:45. There is K-State pregame coverage at 5. That'll be on 101.5 K-Rock. That's because tonight on K-Man, we have Sub-State Manhattan High girls basketball. The Indians are going to be hosting the Mays Eagles at the MHS Gym. And that's going to be a pregame coverage at 5:45 on the dot. There is no game before that. It's going to happen at 5:45 and tip off at 6 o'clock. And most likely a win for Manhattan means round 3 with Maddie Vickery, the K-State commit, and the Washburn Rural Junior Blues in the championship game. But in hour number 2, we will kick it off with the champs will be in the house. Manhattan High Wrestling in the house for a few moments to talk, winning a state championship on the boys' side and also a state champion on the girls' side. Manhattan High Wrestling will be joining us in studio to kick off hour number 2. Plus in hour number 2, MitchPom against Cincinnati. But guys, it's Wednesday, and you know what that means. AEW Dynamite tonight from Sacramento, California, from the Sacramento Memorial Auditorium. That is a near sellout, and we are just days away from AEW Revolution from Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. But Wednesday also means, and this is really great timing, it's time to talk with Kansas State Online. K-State Online, Drew Galloway is joining us this week. Drew, right out of the gate, we need to get down to the really important business of the day. Have you seen the basketball court in the T-Mobile Center for the Big 12 tournament, and does it hurt your eyes? Well, do we have Drew yet?
Oh, I saw it earlier today when I was watching the women's basketball tournament, and I said that it looks a little bit worse than the TCU court does, and that's hard to do. I will say, though, the one thing about that court, there will be no questions about what conference that court is for with all the Roman 12s on it.
As long as you can still see clearly. I feel like my eyes, I haven't watched any of the action for about an hour ever since we hit 3 o'clock so I could pay attention to Ashton Magee announcement, and my eyes are still kind of adjusting. I feel like for 2 hours I was looking at an optical illusion, and it's like looking into the sun for a little while. It's like your eyes have to adjust as you look away, and it just takes a while from all the spots to clear. I don't know. It's not good. It's not. I don't mind the colors, but the Roman numeral Big 12 just small and then taking up the whole floor for the most part is it's kind of rough on the eyes.
I get what they were trying to do, but sometimes when you're trying to do something, less is more. Like, not one single person last year was like, oh, you know what, the Big 12 tournament needs a new court. And then they have this new court, and the early returns are not great from the reception. But I guess that's something where I guess if you're in marketing, that any press is good press, so they're probably somewhat pleased with what they brought to the table. But I'm really interested to see what it looks like in person, because on TV it looks awful.
Well, what's the biggest travesty? What the Big 12 has this year, or the Big 10 no longer has the color wheel at midcourt? Now it's just the Big 10 logo.
Big 10 not doing color wheel was that was like the end of an era for me. Like my Big 10 like tournament memories, like some of my first ones of just conference tournaments in general was Big 10 with like the Big 10 color wheel, and they went from like the color wheel to like an even way worse logo. So I'm gonna say that the color wheel is probably the bigger miss, but both things that changed that didn't need to change because people liked what they were to begin with.
They're both not. I'm not a fan of either one of them. Conference realignment has taken us in the wrong direction. All right, Drew, let's get to some major news. An hour ago, Ashton Magee makes the big decision. The 6'7" wing from Mississippi says he's taken his talents to Kansas State University. Tang and company struck out, trying to go get the biggest fishes in the pond for 2025. The biggest fish in the pond, whatever. You get what I'm saying. My grammar's not 100%, but you get what I'm saying. It was swing and misses against the top talent of the recruiting class. Ashton Magee shows up. He visited this weekend. Only took him a couple of days to say, hey, I want to be a Wildcat. Let's make this official. How big is this recruit and this get for K-State?
Yeah, I think that it's a good get because K-State just needed to get on the board in the 2025 recruiting class. That's something that Mason Voth and I have talked about a lot, where Jerome Tang has said a few times now this year that he can't wait till he's in a program where he has multiple guys in their third and fourth years. And then saying that, but also not having a high school commit this year, then only taking one last year, kind of was ringing on hollow ears a little bit. But you would hope that, like, adding Ashton Magee, it's a step in the right direction. I think that talent-wise, Magee is a late bloomer and has really gotten better from even the summer to his high school season. It is all going to come down to, can K-State develop a more consistent shot for Ashton Magee? Because he is a really good athlete and can really rebound, can play defense really well. But that's going to be the key here, because he is at his ceiling. He's probably Xavier Sneed, maybe Justin Edwards a little bit. But those are the two things that really come to my mind, because if he can develop a good enough shot to at least be able to occasionally step out and take threes and make them, I think that he becomes an even better basketball player. And I mean, if you remember, that was kind of the big thing with Xavier Sneed that everybody talked about. And even Wesley Owandu was, can you develop a consistent shot? And Owandu and Sneed both eventually got there. It's just going to take a little bit of time. But I think that with a little bit of time, and you'd hope that this is a guy that would stick around for his entire college career, which is something that hasn't been done at K-State since Mike McGurl, that eventually he will be able to make threes on a pretty regular basis.
I'm glad you brought Wesley Iwundu. Somebody on social media beat me to it, but that's my comparison to Ashton Magee, not just as a recruit, but just what he can be with his athleticism, explosiveness on the bounce, a really fun dunker to watch. It's just the outside shooting. Those numbers aren't where you want him to be yet, but you mentioned late bloomer, and so did I. Going to his numbers this year at South Jones High School, 23.5 points per game. He can stuff the box score for sure. 8.5 rebounds a game, about 3.5 blocks, so on and so forth with the great numbers. He shoots 57%. So let's kind of define the late blooming part of this. Was he being discovered in the summer? Was this just more of a senior year of high school thing, just exploding and showing up? Is that what it is?
Yeah, this was more of him just kind of coming onto the scene in the major recruiting circles really during his senior season. If you really look, his offer sheet won't wow you, but it's at the point now, though, where a lot of the high major teams don't really have a lot of high school spots left. So for him to not have a high major offer isn't like a huge deal to me at the moment. But then you look at what he's had in the last, I think 2 months, he's gained, I think 6 or 7 new offers. So he was somebody that was kind of rising a little bit late in the process. And that's just where basketball is so different, because football, you have the advantage of the signing period. The signing period is during your senior season. But for basketball, if you're in the early signing period for basketball, you haven't even played a game of your senior season in high school yet. And a lot of it is based off of like your AAU or anything else that you do. Like if you're an international player, it's like all based on that. So to kind of be a late bloomer in basketball, it is a little bit of a disadvantage for the recruits, because then you look and you're like, okay, I don't have a lot of high major options right now.
So it's fair to say, I mean, this is exactly what K-State was needing, a late bloomer, especially with how late this process is. Nobody out of the high school ranks committed to K-State for 2025. They're needing some of these late bloomers to commit to K-State. Is that fair to say?
Yes. This is the type of prospect that when K-State got through the November signing period with nobody signed, like this was the kind of prospect that you were going to get. And it's an intriguing one, because you would think that with him being such a late bloomer that you would expect his best basketball is still way ahead of him.
Drew Galloway from K-State Online is our guest. So the week might not be done for K-State in recruiting for 2025. Ashton Magee was not alone on his visit this past weekend to see the Colorado game. Xavier Wilson was also on the visit. He's from Columbia, Missouri, a point guard that is making his decision tomorrow. What is K-State Online forecasting? Are you feeling pretty good about K-State landing a second player for the second straight day?
Yeah, if you really look at Xavier Wilson and how his recruitment has really progressed, it would be pretty shocking if it wasn't K-State, because like Ashton Magee, Wilson was just in Manhattan, announces the commitment date. You could connect the dots pretty quickly. Wilson, though, late bloomer, just like Magee, but does have a little bit of high major interest. West Virginia hosted him on an unofficial visit. I believe it was like January 31st. And West Virginia is gonna be the team that ends up probably finishing second to K-State, because West Virginia wanted him pretty badly. And what's interesting about Xavier Wilson is that his recruitment didn't really blow up until later in the process, because of being, again, that late bloomer. But also he plays on the MoKan Elite team in AAU. And MoKan Elite now is one of the best teams on the entire AAU circuit. Like Xavier Wilson barely played because they're on a team, or he was on a team that has 4 and 5 stars littered everywhere. And then Xavier Wilson also at his high school is the other guard with Aaron Rowe, who's a Missouri signee. What's interesting is that depending on who you talk to, there are people that like Wilson now more than Aaron Rowe, who is a 4-star prospect that's signed with Missouri.
Well, that's pretty exciting. I like to hear that. Other names that we should know about, because I would certainly imagine it's not just Ashton Magee, it's not Xavier Wilson. That K-State's still looking to potentially add more out of the high school ranks. Is there any other names that we should know about right now?
I'd say for now, that's about it. Okay. I'm kind of in the realm of, unless there is another player that can come in and really like knock your socks off and be an immediate contributor, because I'm not sure if Wilson or Magee are necessarily immediate contributors on a team that I think that we all want K-State to have next year, which would be an NCAA tournament team. So unless it's an immediate contributor, I would be okay with standing pat at 2 high schoolers in this class and then spending the rest of the time focusing on not only retaining your roster, but you're going to have some transfer portal spots that will be open as well.
Drew Galloway from K-State Online is our guest. Let's take a break. He's with us for one more segment. When we come back, we get Drew's thoughts on the K-State impact at the Combine this year and Coleman Hawkins or no Coleman Hawkins. Apparently he's a game-time decision. How does that affect Drew's prediction on tonight's game at Cincinnati? More with Drew Galloway from KSO is next on The Game.
Game on. Tweet the game, KMAN, or call 537-1350 and get in touch with the show. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
The Trust Company is an independent, locally owned wealth management and investment company founded right here in Manhattan in 1992. The experienced professionals at the Trust Company are recruited specifically for their financial, legal, accounting, and business expertise. They're also your neighbors who, guided by your hopes and dreams, will continue to deeply understand your aspirations and goals. The Trust Company, locally owned, client-focused. Our only allegiance is to you. Visit thetrustco.com.
Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show comes to your radio every Friday morning at 10 a.m. We will discuss timely gardening and landscape topics to help you keep your lawn and garden in tip-top shape. Blueville Nursery has been your local landscape service and garden store for over 50 years, and we want to share our time-tested techniques with you. From vegetable gardening, spring and summer annuals, to shade trees and lawn care, we'll cover it all. You're welcome to call into the show to ask questions that apply to your own landscape or garden. Stay tuned to Blueville Nursery's Horticulture Hints radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. right here on News Radio KMAN.
At McCown Gordon Construction, we improve lives by building authentic relationships. No matter the project size, our clients enjoy unmatched talent and resources in the Manhattan area market. Early collaboration with our pre-construction team ensures cost certainty, preventing surprises. Whether it's space for public safety or community gathering, we build to serve the community. McCown Gordon Construction, proud builder for K-State and the KSU Foundation. Visit McCownGordon.com.
Help maximize your yield potential and savings with 0% financing on leading fungicides from BASF. You can't beat 0%, especially when you could save big on consistent performing fungicides like Revitec fungicide and Veltima fungicide until March 15, 2025. 0% financing means keeping more in your wallet for better ROI. Talk to your BASF retailer today about the Grower Finance Program. Subject to credit approval, terms and conditions. See BASF Grower Finance Program for details. Always read and follow label directions.
The Native community is big for me. Makes me feel good to pass on our Rapo traditions. My kids love going up to the Sundance. I like to tell people the Sundance is about family. It's about the tribe. It's not just about the dancer. It's kind of like life. As a Sundancer, I'm just one spoke in the wheel. I need my family there. I need my role models. I need my people there, especially my children. You know, coming in that door, my family is ready to see me and they believe in me. Before, I'd never seen that from my people. But now when I walk in that door and I see those smiling faces and they're happy to see me, that's special. With my 4 kids, all I ask for them in Arapaho ways is health and happiness. Nothing more, nothing less.
Never stop being a dad. That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. It your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Ramsey Show.
Up to 50% of American families are paying their adult children's bills to an average of $1,482 a month. Wow. I've never seen it like this. 25% of millennials, their parents are paying their housing, house payment, their rent, or they're living in their basement. You pay your kids' bills. Psychologists call that enabling. As a matter of fact, enabling is quite the opposite of loving.
Go from paycheck to purpose with The Ramsey Show. Weekdays 10 to 1 on News Radio, KMAN.
NHL star Matt Martin for American Humane.
I've had my fair share of bruises and injuries. But for many who put their lives on the line every day, it's not always the injuries you can see that hurt the most. Every single day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. When medications and therapy don't help, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane has created a free guide to help veterans obtain these life-saving animals. For help, please go to AmericanHumane.org.
I'm Cole Dutchendorf with the Game Sports Update. 6'7" wing Ashton Magee from Mississippi has committed to K-State for the class of 2025. The three-star recruit averaged 23.5 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 3.2 blocks per game at South Jones High last season. K-State forward Coleman Hawkins is a game-time decision tonight as the Wildcats head east to play Cincinnati. Hawkins has missed the last 3 games for the Cats, who seek to win their second consecutive game and sweep the Bearcats on the season. The game tips at 6 o'clock tonight with pregame starting at 5 on 101.5 K-Rock. Former K-State great and 10-year NFL veteran Tyler Lockett was released by the Seattle Seahawks this morning. Lockett was drafted in the 3rd round in 2015 by Seattle. He currently stands as second in franchise history in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns, all behind Hall of Famer Steve Largent. The Chicago Bears are trading a 2026 4th-round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs for 2-time All-Pro guard and 4-time Super Bowl champion Joe Thuney. Thuney has missed just 2 games in his 9-year NFL career, making 146 starts during that time span. Manhattan High girls will face Mays tonight with a spot in the Sub-State Finals on the line. They're seeking to make state for the 2nd consecutive year. All have the call with pregame starting at 5:45 on News Radio KMAN. Now, back to the game.
We're back on the game. Mitch Fortner with Drew Galloway from K-State Online. Drew, I'm getting a hard time about mentioning Ashton Magee as a 4-star because on 3, he has 4-star rating according to ESPN. Then I get on ESPN's website, he's listed as a 3-star. So what are we doing here? Are we giving him a star rating yet, or should we hold off on that?
I mean, I would hold off on it for a little bit. I think that on 3 and 247 are both in the process of giving him a ranking, so I'd hold off a little bit.
All right, we'll hold off on it. Gotta adjust some tweets. All right, so anyway, getting back to I want to get to the combine. We haven't touched on that yet. Talked to DY about that last week. He was, obviously expecting Jacob Parrish to be an absolute speedster. Marquise Siegel proved to be quite a fast guy himself. And then how about DJ Giddens being one of the fastest at the running back position? He got a hell of a overall athleticism rating from multiple sources, one of the best ever for the running back position. And, all 3 Wildcats made quite a splash. What was your impression of 3 Cats in their performance at the NFL Combine?
Yeah, it was impressive to see how those 3 all did. I mean, if you knew anything about Jacob Parrish, you knew that he was going to test really well. I said with Mason on I think it was our Tuesday show, where we talked a little bit about the combine, and it's a good thing that Jacob Parrish had such good feedback that he ended up not even wanting to do any of the drill work because he had already done it at the Senior Bowl, and it was really just there to run and prove that he could run sub 4.4 and did. Marquise Siegel, I knew was going to be pretty fast, but 4.37 was not on my radar. He had one of the fastest 40 times of any safety ever at the NFL Combine, which was pretty wild. And then DJ running a 4.43, I think it is a big deal for him because you look at that. I think a lot of people expected like the 4.6s, maybe mid 4.5 at his peak, and he goes 4.43.
And I think that the biggest takeaway is that K-State is getting a lot better athletes and getting a lot better in the strength and conditioning department. And a lot of credit goes to not only Chris Kleiman, but I think Trumaine Carroll is somebody that really needs a shout out for how K-State has done at the NFL Combine the last 3 years. Julius Brents was a freak. Ben Sinnott was also a freak for their positions. I think Julius Brents had a raw athletic score of 9.99 2 years ago at his NFL Combine. And then you have these three guys come in and really light it up too. So I think that you're really seeing the fruits of the strength and conditioning getting a lot better at K-State at the NFL Combine.
You think DJ's dipping his toes now in the second day waters, or are we going to continue to hold him to day 3?
It's going to be really tough for DJ because this running back class is so loaded. It's one of the best on paper in NFL history with how many guys can go in the first 3 days or first 2 days, excuse me. So it kind of depends on when that run of running backs is going to come. So if the runs start coming in like that mid-second, about to start the third, I think that there's a chance that DJ goes day 2. The player that I think has the best chance to go day 2 is Jacob Parrish. And then I think that Marquis Siegel probably booked himself into that day 3 range as well.
Drew Galloway from K-State Online is our guest. All right, so back to basketball. K-State at Cincinnati tonight. We have not had Coleman Hawkins for the last 3 games. We did not have Moby Ike Garuka against Colorado, but Cats were still able to get it done against the Buffs to end a 4-game skid. As, of course, at K-State Online on your website, you guys always put together a prediction article, and I think you were the lead writer on this one to predict the second round between K-State and Cincinnati. First round, all the way back in December, K-State wins by 3, and that was a big game for both Coleman Hawkins and Doug McDaniel. Jerome Tang and the relationship with Doug has obviously grown so much over the last couple of months. Hopefully that continues to be what it is, and Doug's able to stay. He'll continue to stay here, and he'll be back next year. For Coleman, does he play? Does he not play? He's been, by national media, says he's a game-time decision. How does the Coleman-Hawkins storyline affect your prediction for tonight? Either he plays or he doesn't play. We'll go with either answer. How would you predict this game right now?
Honestly, even if Coleman Hawkins plays without knowing how effective he's going to be in those minutes, because I know that nationally it was reported that Coleman Hawkins was injured in a Utah game, but I think that you could really see it during the Arizona game even beforehand, that I think that he was kind of banged up then. So without knowing how effective he's going to be, it doesn't really change a whole lot for me. Because I think that this is a game that K-State's guards need to play really well in. Jizzle James and Day Thomas for Cincinnati have been really, really good lately. And that's really coincided with Cincinnati going from – it wasn't as drastic as what K-State's turnaround was, but Cincinnati was pretty terrible to start Big 12 play and has really started to kind of put it together a little bit. KSU _fan put it the best with Cincinnati. They're a team that has won a lot of the games that they should, but hasn't won the games that they probably shouldn't. So to me, it's just going to come down to guard play. You're going to need Brendan Hazen or Max Jones to also have a good game, no matter if Coleman Hawkins plays or doesn't play. And then you need Doug McDaniel to be solid, because this team has really gone as Doug McDaniel has the entire season.
How do you take into consideration, how much do you take into consideration Cincinnati's situation right now? Their situation is better than K-State's. I know you weren't high on them at all heading into the year, despite they had a lot of guys coming back. They had some pretty solid player retention. And Dan Skillings, he's not having the year, at least as of late, that he was expected to have. But they're a bubble team. They're on the next 4 out. Is Cincinnati right now too desperate for K-State to go in there and and get a victory?
Yeah, Cincinnati is a little bit desperate, and that plays a little bit into it. But I'm of the opinion that, like, Cincinnati and K-State's situations aren't too dissimilar. Like, both of those teams have to win the Big 12 tournament to move on to the NCAA tournament. This is really just going to be a game of really who wants it more and probably who gets the guards that are more efficient. Because if you look at Day Thomas and Jizzle James, they have combined to score 33 points a game over like an 8-game stretch. So, and that's 45% of Cincinnati's points in that same time period. So they're going to be guys that you really have to lock down. And Dan Skillings is also capable. He hasn't had the year that we've kind of thought that he would, but has dealt with a little bit of an injury bug. And I don't know. Some of it is just them being desperate. Some of it is just Cincinnati's been a good home team. And if you really look at it, they are 1-10 in quad 1 games. And the only games outside of quad 1 that they've lost, well, one was to K-State. And I think the other one was to West Virginia at home. So if you look at that, like, this is probably a game that really favors Cincinnati because of that.
It's kind of wild. Cincinnati, both on 2-point offense and 2-point defense, has been, you can argue, the best team in the Big 12 at home in those two areas. So that's, in my opinion, another factor as well. All right, we have hit the time limit here, Drew. I really appreciate your time. Thanks for all you do with recruiting with us, filling us in here on the show, and with K-State Online. Appreciate your time. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Drew Galloway from K-State Online joining us here on the game. Again, we're with you until 5:45. Manhattan High Wrestling joining us in studio at 5:10 to talk about winning back-to-back state champions. Plus, on the girls' side, a state champion will be here in studio as well with Elena Slifer. But when we come back, we finally get to play the K-State basketball commit song. It's been a year. Well, not a year, but at least for the high school guys, it's been over a year. K-State lands its first high school commit for the 2025 class for men's basketball. More details coming up next on the game.
Your home for K-State sports.
He has doubled his Marquise. He gets by the double team and throws it to the rim. And Johnson with a throwdown. Oh, my, one-handed.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Join the original influencers, influencing for over 60 years, and discover how you can turn your passion for media and sales into a rewarding career. Manhattan Broadcasting is looking for creative, hardworking individuals who have a passion for helping businesses grow through traditional and digital marketing platforms. Qualified candidates should be creative, great at building relationships, and most of all, success-driven. Apply now at the top-rated media company, Manhattan Broadcasting. Send your resume to jobs@manhattanbroadcasting.com. Our client success is your success.
Few people choose to go into a nursing home. However, many people feel more independent when they no longer have to rely on family and friends to take care of them. When that time comes, consider visiting the Leonardville Nursing Home. Their dedicated staff will provide your loved one with the dignity and respect they deserve, offering interesting activities and a home-like environment with private rooms available. Call them today at 293-5244. Leonardville Nursing Home. They care.
Information you can use in an ever-changing healthcare environment. America's Healthcare Advocate, Carrie Hall, Saturdays on News Radio KMAN.
We're here to educate and inform on the topic of healthcare and health insurance. We've partnered with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas to bring you these shows to educate you on healthcare and health insurance issues. That's why we're doing these shows here on America's Healthcare Advocate.
Join Carrie Hall, America's Healthcare Advocate, Saturday mornings at 7 on News Radio KMAN.
Suicide is often a silent struggle, but no one has to face it alone. If you or someone you love is feeling hopeless, remember, there is help and there is hope. Reaching out is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of courage. Together, we can turn pain into healing and despair into strength. Help is always available. Visit Pawnee Mental Health's Crisis Stabilization Unit at 1558 Hayes Drive or call our crisis hotline at 1-800-609-2002. Both available 24/7. You don't have to face this alone. Help is just a call away.
The word father means a lot to me. Being that support system for them, and as a man, that's important in a child's life. I think men can be a little stubborn sometimes where they may want the help, they may not know how to ask. It's hard for a man to speak his emotions. Those tears, they mean something. In a Arapaho way, tears are water and water is life. And when you shed those tears, that's love. That's real love. Sometimes as dads, I think we're too hard on ourselves. Life can come at you really quick, and it can be really tough at times. But then you put that one foot in front of the other, and you keep doing the right thing. Slowly that voice goes away, you know? Wrap away, you gotta pray for yourself, as well as for everybody else, but never forget yourself.
Never stop being a dad. That's dedication. Find out more at fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
There's nothing like an afternoon drive with the sounds of summer. The birds are chirping, the neighbor's mowing his lawn. Hey, neighbor! And the kids are playing baseball in the yard. Oh, foul ball into the street. If I hadn't been paying attention, that could have been. School's out for the summer. Watch out for the kids in your neighborhood. Brought to you by Manhattan Broadcasting Company.
Kansas weather can be unpredictable. If you're listening to us and you hear these beeps, that means that we're expecting or experiencing severe weather within the Cayman listening area. Once a watch or warning condition has been handed down by the National Weather Service, we activate these beeps to indicate that you should keep listening as important weather information may follow. So again, if you hear this, stay tuned for weather information here on News Radio KMAN, your trusted voice for severe weather.
Your News Radio KMAN weather update. Today it's looking sunny with a high near 44 and northwest winds that could get up to 20 miles per hour. Tonight we're looking at mostly clear with a low around 25 degrees. Northwest winds will be from 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then Thursday will be mostly sunny through mid-morning, then becoming cloudy with a near around 54 degrees. Winds can get up to 25. Then Thursday night will be cloudy during the evening, gradually clearing up with a low around 36 degrees.
Back. The game on KMAN. Hour number 2, we're with you until 5:45. K-State men's basketball pregame coverage begins at 5, but that'll be on 101.5 K-Rock. We'll carry you here on KMAN until 5:45 because of Manhattan High girls basketball sub-state semifinal action against the Mays Eagles. Cole Dutchendorf will be on the call of that one. It's a great song coming back in. I love Deep Purple. That's from the movie Twister, if you're familiar with that. It's The Wonders of Nature, baby. But we need a different song. Have not played this since, I believe, August. I can't remember if it was Coleman Hawkins that committed. I can't quite remember who it was exactly. The timeline is fuzzy to me. But ever since then, this was influenced by Marco Bourne, the chief of staff of K-State men's basketball. Because he used to tweet out, "Oh, happy day," when a K-State or a basketball player committed to K-State, and ever since then, this has been our song. Cat's gotta commit. 2025.
Oh, a happy day. Oh, a happy day. When Jesus was. Oh, when he was.
Cats.
When Jesus was. He washed my sins away. Happy day.
This was a couple of hours ago.
Kansas State University.
The drought's over. The recruiting heavens have opened up and are shining once again on Manhattan, Kansas. Tyreek Smith is no longer alone for 2025, and K-State lands their first high school commit, Ashton Magee from Madison, Mississippi, South Jones High School. A late bloomer. Oh, the choir woke me up a little bit. All right. 6'7" senior, 6'6", 6'7", and high school this year where he's really blossomed, where he's all of a sudden receiving a bunch of Division I offers ever since January, the flip of the calendar, the new year upon us. And now all the offers are coming in, not really so much from power schools. As a matter of fact, I believe K-State was his only one. But 24 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, 57% field goal percentage, 3-point shooting. Hopefully will come around. He shot about 4 a game, 33%. This was finally the momentum K-State was needing. We talked yesterday about, the adjustment just had to be made. There really wasn't much of a choice other than if you still want the top talent in the country to come to K-State this late for 2025, those late bloomers got to get them into town and get that commitment. And K-State looking to pounce on 2 this week. We 1 for 1 so far. And Xavier Wilson is coming up tomorrow, the point guard from Columbia, Missouri. Hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll be committing tomorrow at 2 o'clock. If you've watched the film on Ashton Magee, and I shared this earlier with Drew Galloway, and again, some others beat me to the punch here, at least I didn't tweet about it, but I was going to use it here on the show, that he is, to me, like he is the Wesley Iwundu type of player. Like he's that perfect type of wing that can stretch the floor. He can score at all 3 levels. That freak athlete, he can get to the hoop and dunk. 6'7" again. He's going to thrive, I think, for K-State. Of course, development is on the line, right? Cat's got to show that they can develop this kid to use his body, to use his athleticism, to use his God-given talent to be the guy that can be the guy that knocks down shots, can be the perimeter threat, to play multiple spots offensively and defensively. But honestly, number one that stands out to me is he plays hard. He's 100% from what I've seen. He's just 100% go, go, go. Never is going to be a guy that you would assume that will take plays off, not give 100%. Likes to work. And honestly, that's a phenomenal first thing to stand out if you ask me, especially from, just too many times this year. How many times had we mentioned, or just watching the game, noticing that you're not getting the full effort. Guys aren't playing as hard as they should be playing. And when you see this team give effort, they actually play some pretty decent basketball. An exciting pickup. Really, his best offers were what you would call, group of fives like South Florida, New Mexico State, to the FCS type of schools. K-State was the first when it comes to a power school, and I think the only to offer. He was getting a lot of attention from the schools in Mississippi. Just wasn't getting the offers from like Mississippi State, Ole Miss. And who knows? I mean, maybe they will at some point. But this was a pretty quick turnaround for K-State. He visited on Sunday. He commits on Wednesday. Solid momentum. It's exactly what K-State was needing, especially in the circumstance they were in. Now, can K-State do it tomorrow? And we just talked with Drew Galloway, Xavier Wilson. It feels like pretty much a done deal. Now, he does have other attention from power programs. West Virginia had him in for a visit. He had visited Missouri. I don't know if he had an offer from the Tigers. He's from Columbia, Missouri. But it sounds like it's a done deal for K-State. Out of the two guys that visited this past weekend, K-State should land both of them. Xavier Wilson is a point guard. I wish I had numbers on him. He looks like to be a hell of a passer. But just from what we learned about Xavier Wilson, he had a long discussion with the coaching staff. They were very transparent with one another, and it's a really solid relationship that was built in what feels like a short amount of time. So K-State hopefully tomorrow will be going 2 for 2, and that could very well mean they are done with recruiting at the high school level, and the rest, depending on who does stay, who does leave early through the transfer portal, on how much work K-State's going to need to do in the portal in this offseason, which could very well be starting here very soon. All right, we take our final timeout of the hour. We'll finish up hour one when we come back on the game.
Miss part of the show?
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Really? Check it out on demand at 1350kman.com. You're listening to The Game on News Radio KMAN.
Can you help me access my work computer now that I'm working from home?
We can do that.
Is it possible for you to troubleshoot my computer without me coming into your store?
We can do that.
I'm getting messages that my password's been compromised by hackers.
We can.
And that I have malware installed.
We can.
I don't even go to the mall.
We can do all of that.
Fox Business Systems business level support. We can do that.
Call 776-1452 or stop by 531 Fort Riley Boulevard. WeBuildSolutions.com.
If Kansas weather has taught us anything, it's to be prepared for everything. It's time to call M&S Plumbing, Heating and Air to make sure your furnace is ready. From full safety inspections to replacing your furnace, M&S Plumbing will keep you and your family warm this winter. If it's been a while since you've had your furnace serviced and inspected, be sure to call and schedule your appointment today. Simple fixes now can save you big money later.
Call the experts who care. M&S Plumbing, Heating and Air.
At the Meadowlark Memory Program, we're here to help, offering support, valuable education, and practical strategies for those facing memory challenges and their caregivers. The Memory Program serves the Flint Hills region and is completely free. No referrals, no registration required. Just come as you are whenever you can. All classes and meetings are open to everyone because memory loss is a journey and no one should walk it alone. Learn more at meadowlark.org.
American Family Insurance.
At American Family Insurance, your small business is a big deal to us. You face challenges and you work hard to achieve your goals. As your American Family agent and business owner right here in your community, I've faced that too. I've built my business with the vision of helping you protect yours. Contact us today to see how we can protect what you've worked so hard to build with customized coverage that fits your needs. This is Rob Wild, agent at Wild & Associates, LLC.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about? What am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's given me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council. We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
The Ramsey Show.
So I am 20 years old, straight out of high school. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona to start my own business selling furniture.
What does selling furniture look like?
So I go around picking it up, clean it up, take really good pictures and sell it. I'll probably do about 100 grand this year. Net.
Wow. Some of you are standing around with your finger in your ear. And then you got a 20-year-old with a high school education that's making 100 grand flipping used furniture.
He's laughing all the way to the bank.
Financial advice for everyone. The Ramsey Show. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on News Radio KMAN.
I'm Cole Dutchendorf with a game sports update. 6'7" wing Ashton Magee from Mississippi has committed to K-State for the class of 2025. He averaged 23.5 points, 8.3 boards, and 3.2 blocks per game at South Jones High last season and is the first high school commit in the 2025 class for the Wildcats. K-State forward Coleman Hawkins is a game-time decision tonight as the Wildcats head east to play Cincinnati. Hawkins has missed the last 3 games for the Cats, who seek to win their second consecutive game and sweep the Bearcats on this season. The game tips at 6 o'clock tonight with pregame starting at 5 on 101.5 K-Rock. Former K-State great and 10-year NFL veteran Tyler Lockett was released by the Seattle Seahawks this morning. Lockett was drafted in the 3rd round in 2015 by the Seahawks. He currently stands as second in franchise history in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns, all behind Hall of Famer Steve Largent. The Chicago Bears are trading a 2026 fourth-round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs for two-time All-Pro guard and four-time Super Bowl champion Joe Thuney. Thuney has missed just 2 games in his 9-year NFL career, making 146 starts during that time. Manhattan High girls will face Mays tonight with a spot in the Sub-State Finals on the line as the Lady Indians try to work their way back into state for the second consecutive year. I'll have the call with pregame starting at 5:45.
I mentioned yesterday I'm going to try to do a much better job of not getting too worked up by just watching film on a guy and be like, oh, this guy's going to be the next big superstar at K-State. But, man, Ashton Magee can dunk.
Telling you, man, it's ridiculous.
He is a highlight reel. And I'm not, again, like, I just watched a highlight reel of like 10 dunks. It's probably not every day. Like, the first couple are like, they're very Keontae Johnson type of dunks where they're sweet dunks, but he doesn't leave the floor too high. Like, it's not he's not like jumping out of the gym, but it's still a sweet dunk. And then it continues on to like, he is jumping like 50 feet in the air and windmilling a dunk.
I said it yesterday. I thought it was literally a 9-foot goal on a couple of his clips because that's how high he was getting.
He's got to have a hell of a vertical.
Oh, man.
And he loves a windmill dunk.
Yes, he does.
We're back for just a couple of more moments before we hit the top of the hour. I'm begging the Big 12 to please change out that court. I was watching some more highlights after Colorado beat Houston in the women's tournament, the second game of the day, and that is such an eyesore. It hurts my eyes. I feel like I'm looking at an optical illusion. They cannot keep this court through the entire women's tournament and into the men's tournament. Please, I'm begging the Big 12 to go dust off some other, drag it out of storage, go get the court from last year or the court they had for Media Day this year, drag it out, change it overnight, and let's get that court back, please, because the one they're using right now, cool idea, I guess, but seeing it in person, it's bad.
Drew mentioned the TCU court, and it looks like that, but worse, because at least TCU has like the Horned Frogs. I don't even remember exactly what the decals are on the court.
It's like scales.
Right. Like, at least that makes a little bit more sense other than just a bunch of Big 12 logos all over the floor. I don't like the TCU floor either.
I'd rather have K-State having TCU's floor as their home court than seeing this Big 12 tournament court for another game.
Is that for the women's and men's?
Yeah, it's for both.
Rough. That's rough.
It's bad. It's rough on the eyes. And maybe it's just me. I don't know. But for me, it's rough. I can't stand it. I feel like I'm the guy on Mallrats that can't see the boat in the damn picture. You've probably not seen that movie. It's a cult classic. But since we're talking Big 12 tournament, K-State does know its opponent for tomorrow morning. Mm-hmm. It's 11 a.m. tip-off. It's going to be UCF. That's a rematch from about 3 weeks ago. UCF was in town, and K-State beat them by 30. That was an insane game for three-point shooting for K-State in that game. That will not happen, I'm sure, in Kansas City. But the Cavs went 14 of 20 from 3, and Taryn Sides hit 6. She had 21 points. Caitlin Peterson is just a phenomenal basketball player. Unfortunately for UCF, she's the only good player for their team. She had 35 points today against BYU in a 12-point win. All right, for those wanting to listen to K-State men's basketball, flip to 101.5 K-Rock. Pregame is next. Coming up next here on The Game, Manhattan High Wrestling. The state champs are in studio next. Hour to the game as we take you to 545.
What? You want more? You got more. More of The Game coming up next on News Radio KMAN, Manhattan.
your News Radio KMAN weather update. This afternoon, we're looking at sunny with a high near 44. Northwest winds can get as high as 20 miles per hour. Tonight will be mostly clear with a low around 25. Northwest winds will be around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Then Thursday, it's going to be mostly sunny through the mid-morning. Then it'll become a little bit cloudy with a high near 54 and wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour. That night, it's going to be cloudy and slowly get cleared up with a low around 36.
It's hour 2 of the game after work with Mitch Fortner along with the boys across the glass. Jimmy Kaufman is now on the board. Jimmy's new here. He's going to be taking over for a little while here as Cole heads out to Manhattan High School. The Manhattan girls in a sub-state semifinal tonight will take on Mays. Indians for the second straight year looking to get to a sub-state championship game and then also advance to the state tournament. But first, the Eagles are in their way. Tip-off at 6 o'clock. Pregame coverage is at 5:45. If you're looking for the pregame coverage of K-State men, that's on 101.5 K-Rock. But right now in studio, if you don't mind me using a line from a guy that just turned heel in the WWE, John Cena, the champs are here. As for the second year in a row and the first time in program history, Manhattan High Wrestling on the boys' side wins the 6A state championship. And on the girls' side, Elena Slifer, who won the state championship at 135 pounds, is here. But, of course, in the middle is head coach Sean Bomas, and to his right is 32-pound junior and state champion for the third time, Caleb Hutchinson. Welcome, everybody. I really appreciate you being in studio to talk about this season that is wrapped up last weekend. Another tremendous season. Coach, I want to lead off with talking about the boys' season. We've had a lot of opportunities to talk about after tournaments how well they've wrestled. This year they win a regional championship. That did not happen last year. And then you hang on after, I don't know how many bouts there were in the state in the championship round to hold on and claim the state championship. But this whole season for the boys, how successful was this year with, of course, culminating into a state championship once again?
It was a fun season, with our group of guys that we have, we call it the standard, and every year that's the goal is to get back and be in competition or be able to contend to be in a position to win a state title. And these kids that we have bought into it on both boys and girls sides, and they sucked it up and did what they needed to do down the stretch there on Saturday morning to put us in that position.
And 9 state places along with Caleb. On the girls' side, that's still, in my opinion, it still feels like it's really continuing to still grow. Throughout the state of Kansas, girls wrestling at the high school level, it's bigger than it's ever been. And for Manhattan to have 6 wrestlers place, Elena wins a state championship. How awesome was this year for the girls?
Again, a lot of fun. They work hard. We got a unique situation where our girls are on the floor with our boys. A lot of other programs aren't that way. So we can kind of see that growth between both programs, and our girls' numbers are growing every year. We doubled state placers this year, which hopefully we can continue to see those numbers grow and the overall competition grow.
Now, both of you, both Caleb and Elena, were both named KMAN Student Athletes of the Week, and I want to congratulate Caleb for winning it this week for another state championship. Caleb, you've been here before. I think we had last year to talk about winning a state championship. That was your second. Now you've won your third. So take me to the state championship match. Because, again, you've been there before. You faced a guy from Mays that you'd wrestled already a handful of times this year. Are the nerves still there? Are you still, going over game film or like match film in your head about what this guy's going to do since you've wrestled him before? Just take me through going through that match. You win by decision, and are you still nervous when you get into a state championship match?
Yeah, there's always nerves, but you just got to learn how to control them and stay relaxed no matter what. It's just you got to treat it as a normal match and go out there and do your thing.
When you saw it was Vincent Rosas from Mays, that was going to be your opponent, somebody you've already wrestled before. Did you have a game plan? Did you know what he was going to do? What was the plan going in?
Yeah, at Newton and regionals, I couldn't really get to my offense, so in the week before state, I was just working on getting my shots on my feet and, pushing the pace a little bit. I don't like those close 0-1, 1-0 matches. I'm trying to score as many points on the board as I can. So.
I remember Toby Holmes from the Mercury, Caleb, talking to you after winning regionals, and he asked you, how long do you allow yourself to celebrate a regional championship? You got the long bus ride home from Garden City, and then you guys come back home as champions. And he said, when you guys get off the bus, you're all of a sudden thinking about state. When you're a freshman, do you think that way, or where does that mentality come from?
I mean, you're always looking next best thing. You can't allow yourself to sit there and just relax. You just got to put your head down and keep grinding.
Coach, when you hear that maturity from a junior who is just such a phenomenal and successful wrestler so far, what do you think about? What comes to mind?
I love it. You know, both these two sitting here are so humble, so humble in their wins, or if, you know, when they do have losses. But it's just that, you know, like you were talking about regionals, it's done. It's like, okay, the biggest goal's still ahead of us. So enjoy it, but move on. But their maturity and what they do is impressive.
Elena Slifer, state champion at 135 pounds. And I remember I was following along with track wrestling when it was coming up to you. And I noticed on the bracket there was a familiar name across from your name. And it was a gal from Dodge City. And I'm like, holy cow, it's a rematch from the regional championship. What a story this is, because she did beat you. She did get you. She pinned you. At the regional, you finish in second place. It's a rematch for the state championship. You're looking to win your first state championship. You end up pinning her. Just take me through the emotions of leading up to that match, getting it done, and how fun that was for you.
I think leading up to the match, I was definitely more calm-minded because after a loss at regionals, I have amazing coaches, so we were able to get a game plan and just practice getting into the right mentality. And it was really fun. I mean, I went out there, I was loose, I was just getting to my offense. I knew what was coming after wrestling her so many times, so I just felt very prepared and very confident. And leading up to the pin, I actually was able to score quite a few points. And so just getting to my offense and trusting in my training, I think really allowed for a much sweeter victory at the end.
How many times had you seen, her name is Haley Ramos from Dodge City, had you seen her multiple times this year?
I saw her 3 times previously this year. The first was at a Christmas Clash tournament where I did win through points, and then 2 more times where she did pin me.
Was it, when you saw the bracket, you knew she was going to be there at state, of course, did you kind of assume that you would probably, if you made it to the championship match, that she would be your opponent?
If I was thinking about that, I would assume it, but I just try to take it one match at a time. I don't want to look too far ahead because you never know what's going to happen. There's upsets every year. Just got to focus on what's in front of you.
What's it like waiting all day for that state championship match?
It's very tiring, very nerve-wracking, but you kind of just got to stay calm. I love watching my teammates, but it's one of those cases where you can't ride that emotional roller coaster. Kind of just got to focus on staying calm and getting your own mind right.
Coach, what's it like for you? You know, obviously throughout the day when you're on the backside in day 2, you have a lot of wrestlers that are looking to place, and so it keeps your mind busy. But when it comes to the big matches and you're looking for big points, and it's points that can determine who wins a state championship team-wise, what's that ride like for you? Match in and match out, how tense does it get for you when it is a wrestler like Elena that's trying to win their first state championship?
We try to, as a coaching staff, we try to carry that tension for them. We want them to be able to get away. You know, they want to watch their teammates, but like Elena said, we don't want them riding that roller coaster. You know, our kind of strategy going to the state tournament is if you're on the front side, you're wrestling for yourself. If you're on the back side, you're wrestling for the team. And every year these groups get with it on that backside, and they did it again this year. You know, the wrestling, it's bigger than them as an individual.
Do you guys have a go-to move? Like, do you have like a bread and butter strategy or attack? Is it match by match, or you have that one move you really love?
A little 2-on-1 single leg action.
Okay.
I'm just I gotta work with what I'm given, but I love wings on top. So.
Okay.
Situational. You know, we teach a lot of different things, but different body styles, body types. A lot of it's looking for the opportunities that are given to take advantage of.
Now, I'm from Clay Center. Growing up, all the boys in my class had been wrestling since they were 4 or 5 years old. I'd love to hear from both Caleb and Elena. How far back does wrestling go for you? I would imagine, you know, when you're this old and you're this successful, wrestling's probably life, and it could go back a long ways. We'll start with Caleb. How far back has wrestling been in your life?
I started when I was 4. My dad was one of the coaches, so I was kind of just born into it here in Manhattan.
Elena, how about you?
I actually started when I was 8. My older brother wrestled before me, and so eventually we were going everywhere for him. I decided to join in.
Is having a sibling and having a parent that was also in wrestling, is that like the ultimate head start for you guys?
My dad actually ran the kids club here for a long time, so I actually started when I was 4 as well. Ran the kids club, actually wrestled here at Manhattan High himself, and then I wrestled here as well, so it's really cool to be part of this.
So do you guys have more accolades than the siblings and parents? Are you more decorated than the older wrestlers in your life?
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
What about you, Elena?
My brother took a couple years off. He's not doing bad, though, but I'd say I'd probably be a little step ahead.
So how'd you guys celebrate? Now that the season is over, I know more wrestling is still to come. You don't have a long time to maybe just sit there and reflect and really enjoy, but how does the team celebrate a state championship?
They're getting recognized tonight at halftime of the game.
Sweet.
So it's little steps, Caleb?
Get a little bit of food.
Yep.
What's the food? Because I know, of course, those that know wrestling, you got to be very disciplined. So what's the ultimate celebration cheat meal?
Me and my family on Saturday went to Texas Roadhouse.
There you go.
I got a 20-ounce bone-in ribeye. Sounds pretty good.
I got Chipotle.
That's still kind of on the healthy side, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's a lot of food. Go for quantity over quality in that case. Just want to eat a lot.
Well, Coach, I think it's also appropriate we should probably shout out some more wrestlers that had successful runs this year. I mean, again, on the boys' side, 9 state placers. On the girls' side, 6 state placers. Who really stood out to you as like, maybe seniors or, that wrapped up their careers at Manhattan High that really had special years?
Yeah, we had a great group of seniors this year. Landon Dobson making it to the finals, finished just a little bit short, getting second. Logan Lagerman. Logan finished taking 3rd place 4 different times. Just kids that get after it every day. They're kind of faces of the team and kids you really are proud of.
Caleb, how do you like that steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Attaboy. That's good upbringing. Not only a great wrestler, but you get your steak cooked the right way. Well, guys, I really appreciate it. I guess what's next for all of you? I guess that's the next step. Do you guys play any other sports?
Just wrestling now.
Just wrestling,
Just
wrestling for you? Have you guys tried anything else back in the day or anything?
I used to play football and baseball a little bit, but I stopped playing baseball in middle school. So.
See, Caleb's got a couple national tournaments coming up. He's going to go compete in. Then we'll join in with our freestyle Greco program. And Elena will be doing the same with freestyle and Greco here coming up a little bit.
And I guess leads me to my next thought. I mean, think about how many wrestlers you have coming back.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, should the expectation be the highest level that you guys can possibly go with? How many key pieces return?
Yeah, it always is. And we only lose 3 seniors on the boys' side and 2 on the girls' side. So we're just going to continue to grow. And like I said earlier, they've all bought into the standard, and they want to go do it again. And we should have the pieces to, hopefully make a run next February at doing it again.
All right, Elena, you ready to get a second state championship next year?
I'm ready to have fun. I'm going to enjoy the process wherever it takes me.
And that 4th championship, do you know, Coach, off the top of your head, how many, of the record book-wise, no wrestler at Manhattan High has ever won 4 state championships? You do have a coach on your staff that has won 4 state championships, but that was at a different school, so Caleb next year looking to make some history. Going to get it done?
Sure.
Sir.
All right. Well, guys, I really appreciate it. Congratulations on the state championship on the boys' side, and Elena, the state championship individually on the girls' side, 135 pounds. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Manhattan High Wrestling in studio. Caleb Hutchinson, head coach Sean Bomas, and Elena Slifer on the girls' side here on the game. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up next. MitchPom against Cincinnati after these words on the game.
You're in the game on News Radio KMAN.
Weather on News Radio KMAN is brought to you by Sunset Zoo. Memberships are a fun way to experience the zoo. Pick up your membership and enjoy the Sunset Zoo all year long.
Hey K-State fans, single game tickets for all 23 home games of the 2025 K-State baseball season are on sale now. Order your tickets today and make plans to catch the Wildcats in action this spring as they build on last year's 35 wins, regional championship, and super regional appearance. To purchase tickets, call 1-800-221-2287 or visit kstatesports.com. We can't wait to see you in Toynton.
At Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care is right around the corner.
Stormont Vale is more than just a health system. We're your neighbors, dedicated to supporting the well-being of our community and the Flint Hills region. With our strong partnerships, including collaborations with the Mayo Clinic Care Network, other healthcare providers, and various community organizations, we're committed to offering personalized, high-quality care when and where you need it most.
Stormont Vale Health, high-quality care closer to home.
No matter if your flight is departing or arriving, travel is more convenient when you fly local with Manhattan Regional Airport. Connect to anywhere in the world with 5 daily flights to Dallas and Chicago. Plus, by booking your next flight through Manhattan Regional Airport, you'll spend less time driving, saving you both gas and time. Why spend hours on the road when you can spend more time at your destination? Or more importantly, getting home quicker to the ones you love. Get back to the convenience of flying local with Manhattan Regional Airport. Click your next flight at flymhk.com.
At McCown Gordon Construction, we improve lives by building authentic relationships. No matter the project size, our clients enjoy unmatched talent and resources in the Manhattan area market. Early collaboration with our pre-construction team ensures cost certainty, preventing surprises. Whether it's education space for learning or healthcare space for healing, we build to serve the community. McCown Gordon Construction, proud builder for K-State and the KSU Foundation. Visit McCownGordon.com.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Crispy, blazed, toasty, faded, lit. No matter what you call it, if you're high, you're too high to drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Ramsey Show.
The problem is the stupid banks will loan you so much money that they put you in bankruptcy because they don't have an off button. They'll just loan you money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can go get a credit card, you can go on a trip you can't afford, you can go down here and get a car. You know, there's actually people out there walking around that still think that if the bank will loan it to you, it means you can pay
afford it.
The same people that think if
Yeah.
you have checks left in your checkbook, there must be money in the account.
Mm-hmm.
Same people.
Life and money advice. The Ramsey Show. Weekdays from 10 to 1 on News Radio KMAN.
I'm Jimmy Kaufman here with a game sports update. 6'7" wing Ashton Magee from Mississippi has committed to K-State for the class of 2025. Magee averaged 23.5 points, 8.3 rebounds, and 3.2 blocks per game at South Jones High last season and is the first commit in the 2025 class for the Wildcats. K-State forward Coleman Hawkins is a game-time decision tonight as the Wildcats head east to play Cincinnati. Hawkins has missed the last 3 games for the Cats, who seek to win their second consecutive game and sweep the Bearcats on the season. The game tips at 6 o'clock tonight with pregame starting at 5 on 101.5 K-Rock. Former K-State great and 10-year NFL veteran Tyler Lockett was released by the Seattle Seahawks this morning. Lockett was drafted in the 3rd round in 2015 by the Seahawks and currently stands as second in franchise history in catches, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns, all behind Hall of Famer Steve Largent. The Chicago Bears are trading a 2026 4th-round pick to the Kansas City Chiefs for 2-time All-Pro guard and 4-time Super Bowl champion Joe Thuney. Tooney has missed just two games in his nine-year NFL career, making 146 starts during that time. Manhattan High girls will face Mays tonight with a spot in the sub-state finals on the line as the Lady Indians try to work their way back into state on the second consecutive year.
I would assume nobody heard the Tyler Lockett news and didn't say to themselves, man, I'm getting old. Everybody said that today, right? Because Tyler played 10 seasons for the Seattle Seahawks. 10. He's now 32 years old. I mean, I still think 1995 was 10 years ago. And it's not. That was a long time ago. That was 30 years ago. 30 years ago now. Nope, not the case. Tyler Lockett, his time with the Seattle Seahawks is done. They are going to release him. They need the cap space. But what a run for Tyler. Again, Jimmy just rattled off all the stats there for you during the that Game Sports update. And I would imagine he's going to land somewhere and be a big deal somewhere else for probably a short contract. But his time in the NFL, of course, is starting to wind down. Tyler Lockett, I mean, he graduated. His last year with K-State was 2014. Now 32 years old. He's married. He has a kid. Man, what a run, though, for Tyler Lockett. Congratulations to him. Probably saw it coming anyway. But, yeah, I mean, second in Seahawks history in reception, second in history in receiving yards, 8,594, second in receiving touchdowns with 61. Well, I was going to get Jimmy here on the microphone here, but he's right now training with Chris across the glass about what to do while Cole is gone. He's going to be more of a host on this show later on as he continues on to train. If you missed the news from earlier today, it was expected to happen, but it was made official with the commitment at about 3:15 earlier today. As I cue up the audio here in just a moment. This was earlier today from Mississippi, Ashton Magee.
I'll be taking my talents to the university, Kansas State University.
Great crowd reaction there for Ashton Magee from Madison, Mississippi. 6'7" senior. He is a wing and a great addition. Again, my comparison is to Wesley Iwundu. His size, his frame, his look, his athleticism. And also, I mean, if you remember anything about Wesley when he came in, needed to work on that jump shot. Needed to work on his outside shooting. Getting to the hoop, not a problem. Work on that shot. Ashton Magee, a late bloomer. Really didn't have a whole lot of offers this past summer. And then he starts to play some high school basketball his senior year. And then the offers start rolling in at the Division I level when January rolls around. He was getting some power looks, not offers from power programs, but he was getting some looks, but it was from the schools around him. From Ole Miss, Mississippi State, I think Southern Miss showed some interest, but pretty much his offers were coming from nobody bigger than the group of fives like South Florida, New Mexico State, and then programs like Norfolk State, College of Charleston were some of his offers as well. And again, a late bloomer. Mentioned this to Cole in the hour number one. He's kind of a freak athlete. He can jump out of the gym. He can dunk like a son of a gun. Really fun highlight film to watch. Now in high school this year, 23.5 points, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks, shoots 57%. That's just all around. His three-point shooting just 33%. But again, this was something that K-State was really needing to come their way. They were needing and wanting to pick up a couple of guys at the high school level. Hopefully that continues tomorrow, and I'll get to that here in just a moment. It shouldn't be done this week with Ashton Magee. It's going to be about the development of Ashton Magee. He has some raw athleticism. He has some God-given talent, but he still needs the development. That's going to be such a major key, and that's, that feels like it goes without saying. But But for K-State to check mark the plan heading into next year, I mean, there's so much to happen, right? You need to recruit high school guys. You need to retain the players that you really want coming back next year. You need to retain them. And then if you pick up one or two guys at the high school level, fill the rest of the gaps with the transfer portal. And who knows, does Max Jones come back next year with the D2? Because he played D2 basketball. Can he get a waiver for one more year from the NCAA? That remains to be seen. But hopefully that gets done here pretty soon so the coaches can know that he's going to be able to stick around and play one more year. If not, K-State has to fill his spot. It's a solid pickup, but K-State had to go in this direction. They'd missed on so many of the top talent guys, the highest ranked guys in the class of 2025, and it was just so late in the process, they needed to pounce on some late bloomers. Guys that are rising in the rankings from rivals 24/7 Sports on 3, and it's so far so good. Ashton Magee is a pretty talented guy. Just wasn't getting noticed until late in his high school career. But it's better late than never. K-State finally gets a win at the high school level, and can they get one more tomorrow? That's the other big note here. Xavier Wilson, who doesn't have a star rating from anybody yet, another one of those late bloomers, has an offer from West Virginia. He has visited West Virginia. He has visited Missouri. He is from Columbia, Missouri, a point guard. And he, like Magee, visited this Sunday to watch the K-State win over Colorado. Well, Xavier and Ashton both, right after that visit, get on social media and say they're going to be making their announcements very soon. Well, Ashton made his today. That was at 3 o'clock, a little after 3 o'clock. Tomorrow is Xavier Wilson at 2 o'clock. I haven't seen as much film on him. I think he's a phenomenal passer. But it seems like, and as this was reported by K-State Online and On 3, that he's already developed a pretty solid relationship with the coaching staff. They had a nice long talk. They were able to sit down and just be transparent with one another, understand what each side needs from the other, and it feels like relationship-wise and need-wise, this is going to be a pretty solid fit for K-State. So stay tuned. I honestly fully expecting Xavier Wilson tomorrow to commit to K-State and for West Virginia to finish in second. Now, we're not done talking basketball because in about 30 minutes, there's going to be a tip-off in Cincinnati, Ohio. Tip-off at Fifth Third Arena. I doubt it's going to be a packed house, but it can fit a little over 12,000 people. We need to make a prediction to wrap up the show. It's time for MitchPom.
Here's MitchPom with tonight's prediction.
Okay, tonight, K-State 14-15, 8-10 in Big 12 play. The Cincinnati Bearcats 17-12, they're 7-11 in the conference. Cats ended a 4-game skid. I'm getting a scam call right now. Should I answer it? I've been getting all these scam calls lately. This is a 620 number. They're ramping up again. Somebody trying to tell me my Chase credit card is being spent at a Walmart in Dallas, Texas. I got another one of those texts today. This time it was like $700 more. It's like the scammer's like, the 500 didn't get him. How about now 1,200? Is that going to get his attention? This money bags over here. Cincinnati, they've won 2 of their last 3. They're coming off a loss to Houston. That was actually only a 9-point loss, and that was a road game for Cincinnati. Houston kind of struggled to shoot threes. And right now, Cincinnati on Joe Lunardi's next 4 out. They have been terrible against quad 1 opponents. They're just 1-10, but their net ranking is 40. It's pretty high. It's keeping them in the neighborhood, but they got a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. It's probably for Cincinnati too little too late, but with their name showing up on bracketology, gives them a little bit of hope. More hope than what K-State has. All right, overall series, Cincinnati has dominated 8-2, but K-State won the last meeting, 70-67. Coleman Hawkins, Doug McDaniel each had big games. 20 for Coleman, 17 for Doug McDaniel. And that was a 3-point win for the Cats, which at the time Cincinnati was ranked 16th in the nation. And that game was back in December. December 30th. Cats looking for a sweep tonight over the Bearcats. At the time, 70 points were the most scored against Cincinnati this season, which at the time ranked 9th in the country in scoring defense. They're no longer 9th in the country. I can tell you that much. But what happened after that game? After it felt like K-State had built some momentum, finally they beat a good team. They win after that disaster of a finish in non-conference play. K-State responds by losing 6 in a row. Cincinnati responds by losing 8 of 10. But since then, they have won 5 of their last 8. All right, looking at the Cincinnati offense, a couple of things obviously quickly stand out. Not the best scoring team, 66 points per game, but over the last 8 games, like I mentioned, they're playing better. They're averaging 75 points a game over the last 8. They are going to want to get the ball inside the arc. And we saw that in the first game. We're going to see it tonight because they're a pretty solid 2-point shooting team, 53%. At home, Cincinnati is 3rd in the Big 12 at 42 points per game on scoring 2-pointers. That's a really high number. From 3, they're just 31.5%. Quite a bit of evidence of what you would expect Cincinnati to try to do tonight. One of the worst teams in the conference at getting to the free throw line. Interesting nugget from On3, providing this stat was KSU_fan. He tells us that Cincinnati, 2/3 of the time, when they have the better free throw rate, they win the game. So, a little bit of an interesting note there. 10 offensive rebounds per game, that's okay, not bad. They do, however, and I don't like this a whole lot, they do a pretty solid job of valuing the basketball, and that at times, too many times, does K-State put a string of plays together where they do not value the basketball. They turn it over 10 times a game, and 3 of the last 4, it's been 8 or less. To the Cincinnati defense, they allow just 69 points per game. That's about middle of the road in the Big 12. They've allowed 66 in the last 4. Back to the 2-point scoring. On offense, they do a pretty good job. On defense, pretty decent as well. 48% on the year. They're even better at home. Once again, they are the second best team in the Big 12 at 2-point defense at 44.8%. They are not good shooting the 3-pointer. Really, honestly, their offense is pretty similar to their defense. Just by looking at the numbers, 36% team shoot against Cincinnati when it comes to 3-pointers. Can K-State hit their shots tonight? We'll find out. Teams over the last 5 games shooting 38% from 3. They are by far the best team in the Big 12 at not sending teams to the free throw line. Now, this is an area I wish K-State was a lot better at, especially when, and I think there was a great example, the other night. Now I'm blanking on where they are on the road last. Anyway, K-State should have done a better job of getting to the free throw line. They did not. Cincinnati is the best team at not sending teams to the free throw line just 13 times a game. They're not great at defensive rebounding. Both teams forcing about 12.5 turnovers a game. I would hope K-State can rebound tonight. We'll see. All right, players to watch for Cincinnati. It starts with Dan Skillings Jr., but he's not having the year he should be having. Last year, 13.7 rebounds per game. He did score 18 against K-State in the first game. He had 3 straight 18-point games early on in Big 12 play, but since then, he has only scored in double figures 1 time in the last 12 games. He is just not the scoring threat he once was. His season has dipped. Jizzle James, who's a sophomore guard, I think could be a pretty big problem tonight. He's had 8 double-digit games in Big 12 play. He is the only double-figure scorer for Cincinnati in league games at 13.3 a game. Decent from 2-point range. He's not a great 3-point shooter, however. He's going to slash, he's going to try to get to the rim, and he's going to try to draw some fouls. Guard Day Thomas. He's averaging about 10 points per game. He's their best 3-point threat at 37%. Best defender is Texas transfer Dylan Mitchell. 10 double-figure games this year. He's averaging 9.6 rebounds per game. He's 64% on two-pointers. Aziz Bandango. What I worry about him is his rebounding because he's got a 7'1" frame. Big guy. Cats have not been very good against 7-footers this year. He's averaging 6.5 rebounds per game this year, but against K-State in round 1, he had 9 points and 9 rebounds. And then Simas Lukosius is the last player I want to bring up because he's averaging 11 points a game, but he's dealing with a shoulder injury. I think he can also be a good three-point shooter for Cincinnati, but how banged up is he still? He recently missed 2 games. I don't think he's 100% right now. All right, keys to the game, if you have not heard yet, Coleman Hawkins is a game-time decision. He, and not only Coleman, who missed 3 games due to a knee injury, Moby Ike Garuka missed the game against Colorado. He was a little bit banged up. They both practiced when they got into Cincinnati. Are they going to play? And honestly, if they do, that's obviously going to affect my score tonight. I mean, Coleman had such a great game in round 1, but, I mean, points-wise, how much are you going to get from Coleman? You're more relying on the stat stuffing, the assists, running the offense through Coleman. I would love to have Coleman back in a game like this. So Coleman Hawkins, does he play, is obviously a key factor. Getting to the free throw line, can K-State do that? And can K-State win inside the arc? To me, that might be the biggest key of this game. Can K-State be the better team on defense, which I don't think they will, so they need to be better in the paint. They have to win the paint points tonight to get it done on the road. Guard play is super key as well because there's no doubt Cincinnati's best players are the guards, and they're going to try to get to the hoop. K-State's going to want to try to get to the hoop as well, and if not, can they hit their shots? Doug McDaniel, can he hit his shots? He finally started to knock some down in the last game against Colorado. I thought Max Jones had a little bit of an off game, but how good is he tonight off the bench? C.J. Jones, what does he contribute? And that is especially if Coleman does not play tonight. And just valuing the basketball. Cincinnati does a good job of not turning it over. Can K-State somewhat match the level of not being sloppy that Cincinnati statistically will be tonight? All right, after that's all said and done, MitchPom is not giving K-State much of a chance to win tonight, 28%. They have a 7-point win. MitchPom has a 7-point win for Cincinnati, 71-64. I think Coleman plays tonight. I don't have any inside information on that. I'm just kind of going based on the clues I have found on this. I don't know how many minutes he's going to play, how close to 100% he is, because I would assume he's not 100%. So if he does play, I'm actually still saying Cincinnati wins tonight. But I'm going to bump up K-State's chances to 35%. I'm going to lower the scoring just a little bit. I have Cincinnati winning tonight 68-64, a 4-point win at home for the Bearcats.
I would just want to interject real quick, Mitch. Kellis Robinette just tweeted out that Coleman is in the starting lineup.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. I had not seen that yet, but we are 15 minutes away from tip-off.
It literally just came out.
Oh, okay. So there you have it. Coleman's playing tonight. I still have K-State losing by 4 points, 68-64. And, folks, that's where we wrap it up. If you want to hear K-State men's basketball, that's on 101.5 K-Rock. If you want to stick around and listen to the Manhattan High girls basketball team, semifinal matchup in the Sub-State against Mays. That's coming up next with Cole Dutchendorf on the call. For Chris Swick, Jimmy Kaufman, not related to Carson Kaufman, Cole Dutchendorf, the Manhattan High wrestling team. I'm Mitch Fortner signing off. Back with you for 2 hours tomorrow. Go Cats.
Manhattan High Sub-State is on the way here on News Radio KMAN. Quick look at your News Radio KMAN forecast, though, for the rest of your Wednesday. Mostly clear. A little cold overnight tonight, down to around 25. Winds will be out of the northwest, starting out around 10 to 20 miles an hour, but becoming light and variable as we go through the evening. Decreasing clouds, 55 on your Thursday. Another round of rain possible on Friday with a high around 50. Manhattan High basketball is on the way next on News Radio KMAN.
The following is a presentation of News Radio 1350 KMAN. The Tribe plays here. This is Manhattan High School basketball on News Radio KMAN. Coverage of the Indians is presented by
K-Stat Urgent Care, McCain Auditorium, Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Center, Energy Center, Karsminski Locksmith, Prairie Stone, Midwest Dream Car Collection, USD 383 Transportation, Commerce Bank, Barton Community College, Schultz Construction, and Mathis Rehab.
The Tribe plays here. News Radio KMAN.
Well, folks, we're 20 games into this season. All of the highs and lows, the tournaments, Centennial League play, McPherson, all the way out to Hayes. We've been everywhere, the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows for the Manhattan High Lady Indians. And with the conclusion of the regular season comes the beginning of the playoffs. Welcome into Manhattan High School. I'm Cole Dutchendorf, Chris Swick, back in the studio. Manhattan taking on Mays tonight, trying to move to the sub-state finals and trying to move back into the 6A state tournament for the second consecutive year. Manhattan comes into this game at 13-7 on the season. They finish 6-4. And for Mays, 5-15. This is the 6-11 matchup. The winner will get the winner of Washburn Rural and Lawrence Free State. That game kicks off a little bit later. That'll be at 7 tonight, with those teams being a little bit closer together. So again, the winner of this game plays Washburn Rural or Lawrence Free State. For all intents and purposes, you can pretty much fill in Washburn Rural into that spot, as Lawrence Free State was Junction City's only win of the season, and we saw Junction City a couple times. So assuming that the Maddie Vickery-led Junior Blues are going to get that one done. We'll break down these two teams, go into the starting lineups and more. That'll be next on Tribe Pregame on News Radio KMAN.
The exclusive home of MHS Athletics is News Radio KMAN.
The McCain Performance Series, featuring the 9-time Tony Award-winning Best Musical, The Book of Mormon, for 2 shows only.
From full-service rekeys and unlocks to installing new locks in your home and office, Karsminski has been Manhattan's trusted locksmith for 50 years. When life locks you out, Karsminski Locksmith is there to let you in.
Manhattan basketball is also brought to you by...
You love children, serving your community, and looking to make some extra money? USD 383 is looking for bus drivers. Enjoy a flexible schedule and other benefits. All training to obtain your CDL is provided. Apply online today at usd383.org.
M&S Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, Inc. takes care of residential and commercial customers. Ask how you can save on repairs with a service agreement. M&S Plumbing, servicing Manhattan and the surrounding areas.
The Tribe plays here. Coverage of the Indians is presented by these members of the KMAN Sportscasters Club.
Hey, Flint Hills, head over to Culver's after the big game or to satisfy that late-night sweet tooth with our creamy custard, or pick up a snack like our Wisconsin cheese curds, onion rings, pretzel bites. Either way, welcome to Delicious, open 10 a.m. to midnight.
From prevention to treatment for aches and pains, Mathis Physical Therapy offers personalized treatment for you with convenient locations in Manhattan and Junction City. Get well, stay well with Mathis Physical Therapy.
The Indians play here.
Fall is the perfect time to be planting trees. And as always, Prairie Stone has the best deals on locally grown shade and ornamental trees. Call Prairie Stone today for all your horticulture needs.
WTC Fiber Internet is on its way to all of Manhattan. Sign your home or business up today at WTCKS.com. No contracts, no data caps, or overage fees. Fast, local, reliable WTC Fiber Internet. Sign up today at WTCKS.com.
Manhattan High plays here. News Radio KMAN.
Welcome back into Manhattan. We're about 10 minutes away from introducing these starting lineups and getting underway in the 6A West playoffs. Again, Manhattan taking on Mays. Last night it was the Manhattan boys who fell to Junction City. The first time that those teams met in the playoffs in Junction City since 1992. Manhattan boys falling just short. They lose that one 59-45. Manhattan Lady Indians starting off their playoff run as they'll take on Mays tonight. Now, Manhattan really, you go over their wins and losses on this season. You are hard-pressed to find a bad loss, a quote-unquote bad loss this season. If there was one you wanted to point to, I guess you could say Topeka High at Topeka High. But even Topeka High was rated in the top 10, ranked in the top 10 on those KBCA rankings at one point this season. Other than that, you look at these losses, Life Prep, who's Acacia-affiliated school but not within a classification. Olathe South in the McPherson tournament. They are the number 3 team in 6A according to the KBCA rankings, the number 1 seed in 6A East. Washburn Rural, the 2 losses to Washburn Rural. The Junior Blues are number 5 in 6A, number 3 currently in 6A West. Hayes back in 5A, and that was way back in the beginning of the season. Hayes the number 4 team in 5A. Topeka Hayden, the number 2 ranked team in 4A. And by the way, Manhattan took down Hayden. They split their series this season 1-1. And then again, Topeka High. But even they were ranked inside the top 10 on those KBACA rankings at one point this season. This is a really good Manhattan team. They picked up some big wins. The biggest, definitely that Topeka Hayden win, but Topeka High at home was a big win. And all season long, this has been a team that's fought and grown. And I think you look no further than last week, even though they didn't get the job done against Washburn Rural on Friday, still put up a much better fight, played much more together as a team. That first game between the Washburn Rural and Manhattan was a 30-point Junior Blue win last Friday, just 51-45. They limited Maddie Vickery. She had 27 in their first contest, just 13 on Friday. And I think that shows you the growth. You can look at it between the Topeka Hayden game as well, the first and the second, as they lost in Topeka in that first matchup and then took down T. Hayden in their second matchup about a week and a half ago. And ultimately, this team is taking care of business. They've beaten the teams that they're supposed to beat, and they've hung in with some of these better teams that they've played this season. And I think they are well set for what could be potentially a deep run. They're going to have to get by Mays first, and then they would have to get by, I assume, Washburn Rural, given that they're playing Lawrence Free State, who is the 14 seed, and again, one of the only win that Junction City was able to secure on the season came against the Firebirds of Lawrence Free State. Mays comes into this contest at 5-15, coached by Shelby Hillman from 2022 to this season. She is 15-46 in her 3 years. She played college basketball at both Barton Community College and Fort Hays State. Mays, they used to be a really, really solid program, one of the top programs in 6A. They have fallen off a little bit recently. They had 13 straight winning seasons from 2009 to 2022, and then they struggled a little bit in the last couple of seasons. Just, again, 15 wins over the last 3 years. You go back to 2014 and 15, they were the 6A runners-up in both of those seasons. And we're going to take our second break, where you're going to continue Tri Pregame after this on News Radio KMAN.
This is Manhattan High School basketball on News Radio KMAN. Coverage of the Indians is presented by...
Hey Manhattan, at Culver's, our flavor of the day changes almost as often as your teenager's attitude. Download the Culver's app now to find out what day we're making your favorite flavor. Welcome to Delicious, open 10 a.m. to midnight.
UFM puts the community in education. Grow with us by exploring classes and igniting your curiosity today at tryufm.org.
Manhattan basketball is also brought to you by
Schultz Construction. For over 35 years, Schultz Construction has been building trusted relationships through the development of quality neighborhoods. Ready to build your next commercial project or dream home? Call Schultz Construction today.
You love children, serving your community, and looking to make some extra money? USD 383 is looking for bus drivers. Enjoy a flexible schedule and other benefits. All training to obtain your CDL is provided. Apply online today at usd383.org.
The Tribe plays here. News Radio KMAN. This is Manhattan High School basketball on News Radio KMAN.
The McCain Performance Series featuring Aaron Watson, the Blind Boys of Alabama, the Shamrock Tenors, and more. Kids 17 and under half price for most shows.
The Merle girls think you should wear what feels good. Stop by to find the perfect makeup and skincare routine for you. Book your facial or hair appointment as well. Merle Norman Salon and Spa, right next to Target in Manhattan.
Manhattan High plays here.
If it's time to replace your drain or sewer lines, skip the mess and call Smith Plumbing. With new drain technology, they can line your pipes without tearing up your yard or basement. Learn more at smithplumbingks.com.
Share Home Team with Next Home Unlimited is the real estate duo you've been looking for. Check them out online at sharehometeam.com for your real estate must-haves.
The Tribe plays here. News Radio KMAN. News Radio KMAN.